Hi, everybody. This is Scott Leckie from Democracy Tomorrow. So, what can you expect from our channel? What do we have planned? What are we going to do? What are our aims? In a nutshell, we want to introduce the concept of world citizenship to everyone, everywhere. It is our core, fundamental, immutable belief that essentially we are all the same. We may have been born in different places. We may have been privileged, not privileged. We may be white, we may be black, we may be brown, we may be any color under the rainbow. We may be any religion or no religion at all. We may be from the global south or the global north. But no matter what those distinctions are, at our core, we are all the same. And yes, some of us may have more opportunities than others. Some of us may have more money than others. Some of us may have different skills, and so on. But at the core of our existence as humans, we are ultimately all the same. And it is our firm and fervent belief that we should organize ourselves politically on the basis of those similarities, not on the basis of our differences, which is how we have been politically organized until today, in 2025. Our nation states, our nationalities, our passports, and so many other parts of our identities tend, on the whole, to divide us rather than unify us, despite the fact that all of us come from the same species and that all of us, without exception, were born on the very same place, which is our very, very fragile, very harmed, but very resilient planet Earth. The time has come in 2025 to begin looking forwards, not be bound by the shackles of history, not be bound by any diluted sense of superiority or utter righteousness vis-a-vis all others, but a time to look forward and to begin thinking about democracy tomorrow. And that's ultimately what we are about. We believe that every single person on planet Earth above the age of 18 should be able to exercise full democratic rights to determine who they elect and who ultimately governs them, the laws and policies and programs that are put into place to do so should rest with the will of the people. This can manifest in countless ways, and we will address many of those throughout the existence of this channel. But today, just as an introduction, I just wanted to mention sort of 10 things that we have planned in the coming months and years to really breathe life into this ancient concept of world citizenship. So we will have a whole series of different issues that we address on a week, 2-week, 3-week basis, where all of the episodes will address a certain theme, such as world citizenship in its practical sense. We'll do a series on international law and world citizenship, a series on the environment and world citizenship, climate change and world citizenship, the structural impediments to world citizenship, how does self-determination, the status of the sovereign nation states of the world relate to world citizenship, and a whole host of other themes. We have hundreds of people lined up to speak with from all around the world. So that's the first thing. The second thing, we are going to do a regular series of inspired world citizens. So talking to people from around the world about their life as a world citizen. What does it actually look like on a day-by-day basis? We have found throughout the years that many people don't understand what the concept even means, let alone how it would manifest in real life if you were to be a world citizen. It doesn't mean you throw away your identity that you were born with, the nationality, maybe your gender, maybe your historical background, your cultural background, your religious background, whatever it may be. You don't necessarily at all need to throw those things away. What you do need to do to become a world citizen, though, is to add one extra layer, and that is that of world citizenship. So world citizens, as you will see in the months and years ahead, are people that essentially see and treat others, no matter where they were born or where they may reside, as equals, and who see the inherent value in those people. And, we firmly believe that if more and more of us did this, we also believe the numbers are much larger than people realize who already think this way. We will ultimately end up having a far better, far more equitable, far more sustainable planet in which all of us can participate and live out our lives to the absolute fullest, which is certainly not the case today. So we'll have people from Latin America and people from Africa and people from Asia and people from North America, Middle East, all the other regions, Oceania, the Pacific, talking about what it means to them to be a world citizen in 2025. We'll have a special series also on what we're calling wall gazers. So people who saw the writing on the wall, essentially, focusing primarily on American citizens or former American citizens who saw the writing on the wall maybe 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 years ago, and who decided to leave the United States forever. What was it that drove them to leave? Have they succeeded elsewhere? Have they gone back? Is it really true, as was reported last week in mid-April 2025, that 42% of American citizens today are seriously contemplating or have already taken steps to leave the United States because of current political developments there? So that whole series will focus specifically on Americans who have taken the plunge, so to speak, and who have left on a permanent or semi-permanent basis. For a lot of people, leaving their own country is one of the most dramatic and even stressful things that can happen throughout life. In fact, in many surveys, it's been shown that other than the death of a spouse or a child, the second most stressful event in life is an international move. So there's a lot of reasons and rationale why people don't leave their country of origin. And most people don't, even if they have the opportunity to. But we're going to look specifically at that one country where I myself was born, and share stories about what it took to leave. How do you establish yourself elsewhere? What do you miss? And what do you look forward to in the future? The next thing we're going to focus on is regional updates of current poignant political events in every region of the world through our team of highly qualified, highly skilled regional correspondents. We'll have a European correspondent, we'll have a Middle East correspondent, we'll have a Latin American correspondent, North American correspondent, and in some cases we'll even have national correspondents bringing us daily or weekly updates on what are the most important political developments in those regions, also through the lens of world citizenship. We'll do occasional book reviews of books that we think are particularly useful for people to read to understand the ideas behind world citizenship. We'll do, very simple and easy to understand reviews of these books, and give their title, their author, their publisher, and give people access to books they might not have heard about that, in a very interesting way, explain the nature of world citizenship. We'll continue to have roundtable discussions with several people on a panel meeting simultaneously, as we have already done as the opening launch event for Democracy Tomorrow, which was described by one of the participants as the best discussion on world citizenship he had ever attended, and he had attended many. So we're very happy with those feelings. And we hope the same will occur in upcoming roundtables that we host. The second roundtable we're hoping to host will focus on art and world citizenship, and we will aim to have painters, poets, writers, actors, Hollywood directors, sculptors, all actors under the sun. All artists under the sun, and see what unique perspectives they have in all fields of art, musicians as well, on the question of world citizenship. How did they reach this sort of understanding of their position on the planet, and so on. I'll do a regular series of hot takes in response to current global events and contemporary news items, when and if that is deemed necessary, and give the perspective and the angle of a world citizen. How does a world citizen respond to, for instance, the death of the Pope a few days ago, or the idea of of instituting a tariff regime against every country in the world by the United States, or the upcoming election in Canada, given the threats that have been made against the Canadian state by the southern neighbor, and so on and so forth. There might even be some sports updates. There might be, World Cup or Olympics. There could be stories about various cultural events that are occurring in the world, environmental matters, a whole range of things. And we'll try to do those on a regular basis. There'll be another section on how to live a world citizen life. What does it actually take? What does it actually mean? We'll talk to people at the beginning, as I mentioned, about their life as world citizens. But how can you personally become a world citizen without destroying your life as it is now? It's not nearly as difficult as it seems. It's probably more doable now, actually, than ever before in the history of the human race to live and act as a world citizen. Of course, we need to act in accordance with prevailing laws now, which require all of us to have a nationality and generally to have a passport if we wish to cross an international border, and to, of course, comply with the laws in any country that we may find ourselves. So we're not talking about it in that way, but we're talking about it in terms of the way in which we view the world, the way in which we treat and interact with other people, the career decisions that we make, the work that we choose to do, and where we choose to do it, and with whom we work. All of these matters will be discussed in detail, and to try to make it as easy and simple to understand as possible for those who wish to embrace life as a world citizen. There will be, for Patreon subscribers and others who want a real inside look, special section. We don't know what we're going to call it yet, but stories by yours truly that may perhaps blow your mind will be one of the offerings of the Patreon channel. I've had the good fortune to have worked on human rights issues all around the world for 35 or more years, and done work in 82 countries, and additional human rights work dealing with 30 or 40 more countries that I have not yet visited. But I have had the incredible good fortune to travel the world and try to facilitate justice and more equitable conditions, particularly for lower income groups, slum dwellers, displaced persons, people who have lost their land due to ethnic cleansing, and things of that nature. So a lot of stories will come from that and other adventures that myself and friends have had all around the world. And then finally, we're going to go on the road. Democracy Tomorrow will go on the road and do shows in as many places as we can. We don't have anything set in stone just as yet, but hopefully we will do a series of shows in New Zealand at some point in time, also Indonesia, perhaps some of the Pacific Islands, moving towards South Asia as well, and then into Europe, the Middle East, Africa, North America, Latin America, and so on, to really meet with people that are already living the world citizen life. And there are millions upon millions of people that are already living and working as world citizens. And of course, again, they maintain nationalities within existing nation states, but they also have a much wider view than that. It's similar to climbing a ladder. The higher you go on the ladder, the more you see. And that's very similar to the journey of somebody born as a national of a country and not really thinking beyond the borders of that country. And then suddenly it dawns on them, wow, it's really interesting to go 100 kilometers from where I was born. It's even more interesting to go 1,000 kilometers, let alone 10,000 kilometers. And as that happens more and more, and as all of us meet more people across the world, the subtle and very small differences pale in comparison to the things that we all share. You can smile at people from anywhere And almost always they will smile straight back. And it doesn't matter where they're from. It doesn't matter where they were born. It doesn't matter what their religion is. A smile elicits a smile. Good vibes elicit good vibes. Trust elicits trust. Kindness elicits kindness. Compassion elicits compassion. And the list goes on. So the more we see, the more we meet people, the more places we go, the more open-minded we are to the different ideas that may exist in the rest of the world, the further we go. And the more impossible it becomes to go backwards and to think that our own people, so to speak, or our own kind, or our own religious brethren, or people from the country in which we were born, were somehow better, somehow superior to all others. That goes by the wayside. And the embrace of people from everywhere just continues to grow and expand. And it is our hope, our fervent hope, that through this channel and through your own interpersonal relationships with people everywhere, that you too will deepen further and further and further your own experience as world citizens. And so that's essentially what we have planned. If you're interested in us pursuing any of the specific themes, if you have comments or anything like that, put it in the space below, and feel free to be in touch anytime. This is a very positive message that we're trying to send through this channel. Sometimes we'll of course be critical of developments in parts of the world which are heavily contrary to our vision of a shared, equitable planet, and we will mention those. But by and large, we want to exude a sense of hope and a sense of positivity to people everywhere, particularly those who are suffering and those who have difficulty making it by on a day-to-day basis. We need to construct a planet that has not just the capacity, but the will to ensure that all of us everywhere, every day of our lives, have full and complete access to all of the human rights that were promised to us in the Universal Declaration on Human Rights in 1948. We have the resources to do it. We have the technology. We have everything we need to make that vision of a world grounded in human rights and essential equality of people everywhere within our grasp. It is here. It is possible to do. What's missing is the will. And if we can generate enough will to make this happen, it will happen. So that's what we hope. So we really hope you enjoyed this channel. Thank you so much for watching. Like I said, any ideas, any comments, please put them in the comments below, and we'll see you next time. Take care.